To the conversation off the back of our focus and that viewer question this morning. Always good to have from the Council for the Advancement of the SA Constitution, Lawson Naidoo, with us. Hello to you, Lawson. Good to always have you on ENC. I'm sure you would have heard the viewer question a moment ago. So help me understand, what are your thoughts? Is this perception or is this reality to your mind?
Good morning, Gareth, and thank you very much. Look, I think the first thing is to understand the criminal justice system as a whole. It starts with a charge or a complaint being laid with the South African Police Service, who investigate issues before it's brought to the National Prosecuting Authority for a decision whether or not to prosecute. So we've got to look at the continuum of that law enforcement process and the allocation of resources therein. Now, we know that there are priority crimes that are determined, and we have a Directorate for Priority Crimes Investigations, the Hawks, that are located within the SAPS, that deal with organized crime, that deal with corruption and the like. But there's also a priority in our society, given the nature of crime, on sexual offences and gender-based violence crimes. So those are areas that require dedicated resources and specialist investigators as well as prosecutors. So those are things that I think as a society we have agreed constitute priorities. Now, the allocation of resources in that regard is obviously a critical question, and it's always a question as to whether the police as well as the NPA have adequate resources to discharge the functions that society expects from them. So I think, we cannot say that we must ignore high-profile cases and simply focus on the other cases, nor the converse, that we must only focus on the high-profile cases and ignore the others. Because the criminal justice system is there to protect and ensure the safety of all South Africans from crime and corruption and actions of that nature, which have the potential ultimately to undermine the rule of law if they are not properly addressed.
And Lawson, I can't help but wonder as well, when we're talking about the comparison between high-profile cases and respectfully day-to-day cases, do you think it's the optics behind how media covers these high-profile cases? In just a moment, we're going to be talking about the Senzo Meyiwa court case as well with Slindelo Masakane. So do you think that could be giving a false perception that they're getting more attention because we headline that, because we talk to experts about that?
Well, indeed, I think that is a perception that's out there, that the NPA, for example, must only focus on corruption cases, and people don't seem to appreciate the fact that the courts across the country operate on a day-to-day basis, dealing with crimes that are committed against ordinary citizens of South Africa, be it burglary, theft, assault, and the like. And those are issues that largely go unnoticed in the public and media space. And that's the very functioning of our justice system, is ensuring that the magistrates' courts, the regional courts, function effectively. Now, we know that there are issues regarding infrastructure of the courts and adequacy of resources, but the system does function, and the wheels of justice do turn. The media, however, focuses largely, quite understandably, on the high-profile cases, be they corruption cases or be they criminal cases such as the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. So, these are perceptions that are created through, looking at things through particular lenses.
So just before I start saying goodbye to you, Lawson, do you get the sense then, this concern that day-to-day cases don't have the resources that they should? Is there some foundation of fact in day-to-day cases being pushed aside, being delayed due to the multitude of issues that you raised earlier?
Well, I don't think it's a question of them being pushed aside. I think they continue to happen. Whether the investigations are done adequately, whether prosecutors have all of the resources at their disposal to be able to effectively discharge their functions in terms of presenting the best case before courts. Those are issues that I think then can always be addressed. And we note, for example, that the NPA, have openly said that in order to deal with the increased caseload that they face, that they need additional resources. And they are engaging with the Minister of Justice and with National Treasury to try and secure those additional resources, particularly in the case of high-profile cases resulting from the Zondo Commission, as well as the establishment of the investigating directorate within the NPA that's focusing on corruption and state-captured crimes. So, we need to ensure that these agencies, be they SAPS or the NPA, are adequately resourced to be able to discharge their functions and to meet their obligations to the people of South Africa.
And Lawson, I think it's been exactly what every expert has been telling us this morning. It's all about the resources in the end. But I really appreciate your time. Some wonderful suggestions from Lawson Naidoo and making sense of what the priorities are. CASAC, Executive Secretary CASAC, of course, standing for the Council for the Advancement of the SA Constitution.